Wow, thank you, big mouth announcer guy. Welcome to my brother's an idiot. We are back and we are sad. Postseason of our favorite teams has come to an end. Mark, how you feeling?
Sports suck when they suck. Like, what a fucking horrendous time to be a sports fan of certain teams, especially in Colorado. We're not going to touch on too much of the Rockies, but they have the worst team in the history of the National League at 8-52, I believe, or something atrocious like that.
8-42.
42.
Yep.
So, but still not
worst
good.
50 game start in history.
Yeah. So, but we're not touching on that. I'm just there because this is where we're at right now. We're talking about the Nuggets who, man, they tried their damnedest and they made it to a game 7 with a team that looks really good and plays 11 or 12 people. And it's just bad, man. I'm feeling pretty bad, but you know what I'm feeling pretty good about? I'm feeling pretty good about trying a beer right now. I'm feeling pretty good about trying this Best Day Brewing that I got from somebody. And this one's going to be the West Coast IPA. So we're just going to crack this open right now. And we're going to give it a shot. It's a little foamy, but they always are. Full disclosure, I like my West Coast IPAs at room temperature. So this one is just straight off the shelf, cracked open. It's good. There's a good hop body there. The mouthfeel is that a little bit of like a sparkling wine. It's a little bit thin, but other than that, I like it a lot. All
right, good feedback.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Of course, dipshit is in triple hell because the local teams both lost, and Toronto's out. How are you holding up?
I don't think we need to talk about that. I think what we need to talk about is to avoid my pain, I went to a Rockies game, which that's kind of counterintuitive, but the good news is that the Rockies game, you can buy baseball cards now. And so I bought 4 packs of cards, and I got my first material card. I got a piece of a bat.
Who's bat?
Who's bat?
Yordan Alvarez.
Wow.
So
cool.
I got that. I got a Larry Walker card. I got a little sunburnt.
That thing might be worth a whole 50 cents.
Maybe, just maybe. And possibly. I got a dinger that sits on my shoulder and he doesn't fall off.
So. Wow. That's neat. I like that.
It's like your own personal Jiminy Cricket.
I like it. It's like Polly the dinosaur.
Yeah. He's given me comfort in these trying times.
Yeah, right. Well, let's get into some of the trying times, and there's really no need to break down the what happened here, Mark. I think the best thing we do with the Nuggets is look forward. They announced today the head coach is sticking around, so they did take the interim tag off of David today. Josh had a press conference. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it or not. I didn't get the whole thing, but that was the one thing I did take away. So we got that consistency, and they've got their head coach before they have their GM. What do you see going forward with this team?
You say go forward. So first off, we got to talk about a GM, right? So who have been the past GMs here? We had Usai Ujiri, right? And they couldn't afford to pay him, so he went to Toronto and built a championship team.
No, that wasn't exactly how that went down, but they could afford to pay him, but Toronto was his dream job.
Right. But either way, he was here. Now he's gone. Then you have Tim Connolly, who built the championship team, built what is basically, the foundation of this. Not what we've got, but the foundation of it, with the players that we have now. And Tim Connolly, again, they decided not to be able, they could have afforded him, and he went elsewhere to go be the team that beat you, right? He built the Minnesota Timberwolves to beat the Denver Nuggets because that's the team he built. So he got that job. Then they had another GM that was on staff that they is now the GM of the Bulls. I don't know if you remember him. He was the assistant GM, and is now either the assistant GM or the GM of the Bulls. So they've got some internal candidates. I don't think that they go full Kroenke here, but they have a history of having some pretty good talent in the system. I don't know what's available there, but I could see them looking inside. The David Adelman thing seems pretty. I mean, given the chance, right? Just get the monkey off your back. You've got that figured out. It's one less thing to worry about. It's basically roughly the same as having Michael Malone there. He's probably a little bit more of a player's coach than Michael Malone, but it's the same roughly philosophy. So you've got roughly the makings of this team. And let's be honest, it's Joker's team, right? Jamal is here because of his contract, probably won't get moved. We probably are going to have problems getting rid of Michael Porter Jr. I believe if we make any moves outside of like $7 million, we get into the second apron, and then you can't do anything. And the guy who was here previously deleted all of your draft picks. I think you've got one draft pick you can move, and that is in 2031, something like that, because of all the moves that you had. So you're in a really tough place if you're a Nuggets fan, and I'm not sure what the hell they're going to do, but they got to do something drastic. And a lot of that is getting these guys healthy. Yeah, I know that, but there's got to be something that you can do with the back half of that roster. And right now it's locked up in a lot of money and some guys that aren't doing anything. A lot of money in some guys that we did not see in these playoffs. And they're going to be here for a couple more years. I'm talking about, Dario Saric, who we didn't see, Zeke Naji, who didn't play a single minute in the playoffs. These guys are still going to be here. Those are the guys that we got to do something about. I'm not talking about your starting five. It's got to be these guys that you get rid of, that you gave the bag to and have gotten nothing for. That's what you've got to do with this roster going forward. And I don't know what they do at the GM spot, but that's the mess he's got to deal with. And he's got at least a hand tied behind his back doing it. They're financially fucked.
Dipshit, what do you
got? They lost the series, and that was sad. I didn't get to see DeAndre Jordan that much. I have a feeling I might not get to see DeAndre Jordan much moving forward, potentially.
He didn't play at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I hope Russ stays. I hope CB stays. Otherwise, I don't really care about any of these people at this point. I guess we can see what happens.
So everyone is pretty much under contract. There's 2 expiring contracts this year of note. DJ, who we knew, he signed a 1-year deal, and he may sign another one. You never know how he's feeling, what he's up to. Vlatko is expiring. Had a little bit of time in the regular season, but I don't think he's even all the way back from the knee injury. It still wasn't moving great. Russ is on a player option this year, so it's all up to Russ whether or not he stays or not. Everyone else is locked up at least for the next 2 years. So in my mind, there's 2 ways that this goes with the new GM. First one is a developmental, you run with the guys you got. I mean, Peyton's under contract for 2 years, Jalen's 2 years, Hunter Tyson's 2 years, Julian's the next 4 years or next 3 years. You still have Deron Holmes sitting out there. Develop the young guys and hope that fills out your bench. And then basically run it back and hope you stay healthy. Because let's be perfectly honest. This is a team that went 6.5 deep, that was the walking wounded in games 5, 6, and 7, and pushed the best team in the league to 7 games. So, and if you look at the way Oklahoma City absolutely boat raced a rested Minnesota team in game 1, and they're up right now by 9. That's a really good basketball team. So they could be close, right? The starting 5 is awesome. The other way you look at this is tear it down or make big changes. Now, Mark, to your point, I don't think they can move everybody. But I think there's 3 guys on this roster that are non-starters. We do not take calls about these 3 guys. Obviously, Joker's number 1, clearly. Number 2 is AG. I've never seen a player at his age transform his game on several different levels from year to year. He was a 60% free throw shooter last year. He was over 80% this year. He was a 30% 3-point shooter this year. He was over 40%, or that last year he was over 40% this year. And he's really stepped into the leadership role of this team. He's commonly known as Mr. Nugget. His off the court challenges have been well documented. He's had some things going on in his life, most notably the loss of his brother, and he's really stepped into taking care of his brother's kids. I think that's a guy that you absolutely can't lose. The other one is CB. I don't think CB is a factor in any trade. He's proven he's earned the starting minutes. He's only slated to make $5 million next year. He's on a really good deal. The most fast break points in the league out of CB. He plays good defense. He's a decent threat. I think he still needs to work on his three a little bit, but we saw what we wanted to see out of CB this year. In this vein, and I want you to understand and listen to what I'm saying. I'm not calling for this, but in this vein, everybody else is on the table. If someone calls you about Jamal, you take the call. If someone calls you about Mike, you take the call. And then, of course, everybody else on the list is just everybody else on the list because we never saw them, right? There are some pieces here that I really like, but we didn't see a whole heck of a lot of them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling for that. I'm not saying that's what they should do. I think that's one path that the new GM could take. You're not going to be able to move them all, but I love Jamal. I have the utmost respect for what Mike went through, not only during the season, but with the injury in the series and playing through the way he played through. He opened a lot of eyes in terms of his toughness, mentally and physically. Couldn't hit a shot to save his life, but he was an effective rebounder. He was out there. He was willing defensively as he has been, but the shoulder was the shoulder. What happens? Where do we go from here? That's the question that the GM is going to have to figure out. And he's going to have to talk to Joker. He's going to have to work with Adelman and figure out what's the goal moving forward. Are we that close and just need a couple little pieces? Do we need to develop more? Do we need to get these guys some summer league time? Do we need to have a plan in place where we're playing Jalen and Julian and De'Ron more in the beginning part of the season and getting them that time so that we're also not wearing our guys down at the end of the year? I mean, I'll tell you what, you look at what's happening with the Knicks, that team looked gassed last night. Yeah. Absolutely gassed. And I was thrilled that Reggie was on the call, even though the Knicks fans are mad about it. I thought he was actually pretty professional about it, but that was shades of Reggie 1994 in the Garden with what the Pacers did last night. So that's the two ways I think it goes. What do I think they should do? You know what? Like I said, they're close. And if OKC runs all the way to the title and with an easy road, they are very close to being up 2-0. And I don't fear either Indiana or New York as a West Conference team. If they were that close with an AG who couldn't move in Game 7, with Michael's issues, with Jamal being sick, I mean, basically had two starters who were healthy. They were close. And I think that's what we take away from it. Mark, what do you think?
No, I'm right there with you. They got to a Game 7, like you said, against a team that and then got boat raced by them because they just ran out of gas. But they didn't really have a starting five. They didn't have a bench, and that's what we've been saying for the last, at least specifically me, the last couple of years is what is going on with this bench? What are we going to get from this bench? And it's been underperforming all year, and it finally is catching up to them here in the playoffs. It caught up to them last year when they just ran out of gas. This year, the same thing. There's too many injuries on this starting five. Yes, they're probably the best starting five, 1 through 5, when healthy on paper. The problem is if you're only running those 5 guys, they can't play 48 minutes a night, ladies and gentlemen, 82 games a year, and then be expected to get you to the championship after that. You need some help. Dario Saric, I don't believe you caught him. He's actually on a player deal too, so his option for next year
Saric is on
a
an
player
option.
option.
You're right. I did miss that.
But I imagine he's going to make himself $6.5 million and say, sure, sign on the line, because he's not getting any more money anywhere else from anybody. Not that much money after, being a no-show for the Nuggets this year, didn't really sit well. So I'm assuming he just signs that deal and sits on the bench, and they're going to have to cut him because nobody's going to take that contract. You've got to get something better from this bench. We've been saying it for years, that the third quarter woes, and that's because that's when Joker sits down. They have to find a second ball handler. And yeah, Russ is that guy for right now, but you can't ask him to do 20 minutes a game anymore. He's a 15 to 18 minutes a game guy. If he goes over that, you see the mental mistakes. You see him not being able to shoot because he's tired, because he's an old man. I like Russ. The problem is we're getting too much of him. And nothing against him. That's just not he doesn't have that length anymore. So something's got to happen there. When you're having to limit the minutes of your bench and you don't have a big man plan at all, like, what are we doing here? That's the biggest problem on this team. And so they'll address that, hopefully. I don't know how. The smarter guys than me are going to have to figure that out. But it's going to be enthralling to see what they do, and interesting, very interesting. I don't know what they're going to be able to do with all these contracts, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and Jamal's contract goes up $14 million this year. Michael's only goes up another $3 million. AG's big jump is next year, 26, 27. He goes up $9 million. But like I said, I think he's untouchable.
Does Christian ask for more money too? Like, does
Christian? No, because Christian's still on his first deal, and I don't think he doesn't have any leverage, especially with the financial situation the team's in. And I don't perceive Christian as being that guy.
I don't.
He goes up to $7 million in 26, 27, and that's a team option so year after next, and then he's a free agent. So that's when I think you might have to make a decision there. But that's also the year that Michael's contract expires.
Yeah.
So you may have some room there. And I don't think Christian's a max guy, at least not right now. He may earn it. He may get there. And I'm right there with you with Russ. Like, I adore Russ on this team. I hate Russ on any other team. He's that guy, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about Russ is he's a goddamn force of nature. Everything he does is loud. It's either straight to the basket and a quick flush, or a corner three, or he throws the ball away at the wrong time because he's going 400 million miles an hour, because that's how he's wired. But you need that kind of energy, I think.
Yeah,
I thought it was a perfect match for this team. But I think Malone fell in love with him. Yeah, Les. I think Malone fell in love with him, loved his energy, and just thought he could get more out of him than he did. And that's where we are with that right now.
Yeah, he's 36. He's not going to change as a player at this point.
No, absolutely. Absolutely not.
Get more out of somebody who's 36.
Give me 15 minutes of Russ running like the Flash, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm good with that.
Chaos. Like, he's the chaos guy.
Solid 14 to 18 minutes a game. Awesome. More than 20, we're in deep shit.
Right.
He's throwing that ball into the third level.
And I think they played him so much in the season that you didn't get enough time for Jalen to be able, because he's the backup point guard of the future. He's got to get some NBA minutes. And he just didn't have that this year. I really like his game. I love Julian's game. I think that kid has every chance to step into that 3-and-D role going forward, but they got to get time.
Got to get him out there.
Right. The biggest difference between Mike Malone and David Edelman is David Edelman, I think, is a better in-game adjuster. Malone was not, for everything that he was great at. And we thank Mike Malone for his time here. Without a doubt, the greatest coach in Nuggets history. I don't think there's any debating that fact. But his flaw was he relied on the game plan and would not adjust in game. And we saw it. That was what happened in the Minnesota series last year. They just couldn't adjust to the way they were playing defense. Between games they would, but not in the game. So let's see. And hopefully that David Edelman is better at that it looks like he could be. So who knows? Dipshit, you got any other thoughts?
No.
All right. It's an easier conversation, I think, but we still got to touch on the Avalanche. And Dipshit, we'll start with you. Right out of the gate, you get Dallas. They've never gotten to the Stanley Cup having gone through Dallas, and that streak continues. Went to 7 games. What'd you see?
It was bad, mostly not good. Not end of the world bad, not the Maple Leafs bad, but not ideal. I think there's a few players on the team that we could afford to fire into the sun, or at least to Buffalo. I think
them.
there's a what?
Put names out there.
We're not re-signing Drouin. I can't imagine. Probably not VC. Because those are both UFAs. Lindgren, bye. Tucker Pullman, bye. Sam Malinsky. If you take less than $1 million, you're fine. Josh Manson, bye. Ross Colton. If you didn't, I don't know, he has a no trade clause, but it doesn't say what it is. Preferably bye. I would like to fire a bunch of these players into the sun. Actually, the more I'm looking at this, the more I want to eliminate people. But I think, there's some moves that can be made. It's a really weak UFA class outside of a couple very big players that I would love. I would love to have Mitch Marner on the Avs. I don't think he's taking less than 10 mil, which wouldn't work, I don't think, but potentially, you never know. It was just bad. Hockey made me very sad this offseason. This was a bad offseason or postseason for MJ. Dipshit did not enjoy. That's why the dipshit played Expedition 33 in fucking 3 days.
Hockey died for me with this. This is the day hockey died for me this year.
If you're listening to us and you can't see it, Mark is holding up a can of Sam Adams Marshandy, an ale brewed with fruit that they released. The original plan was to release it to celebrate the captain, but then they made it, and then the captain got traded. So they remarketed it and put a nice little flowery script on the back of it to thank him for his time. But yeah, he gone.
But there it is. So there you go.
He gone. He's having a much better time, though, to be fair.
He's having a great time. He's having a great time, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, today specifically, he's doing fantastic. They're up 4-0. I don't know. The losing Mikko sucked, obviously, and we never really got anything to replace that production. Do I think Mitch Marner could replace that production? Yes. I also think that motorcycle could probably be louder directly into my microphone.
Holy crap! I was wondering.
I think that motorcycle might have been
jet that just went by your apartment.
Right? Good Lord.
It sounded like it was fucking riding on the wall.
Yeah, it literally sounded like it right by your window.
It's a giant Harley.
Anyway, do I think Mitch Marner would fill that hole? Yes. Do I think we could afford to have Mitch Marner fill that hole? Maybe if Mitch Marner took less than 10, please, Mitch, please, do not go to Chicago, Mitchell. Do not go to Chicago. I don't know. It's all bad. I would like to see them bring back EJ for one more year, just because Sammy G can kind of play with anyone on his other side, but he always does better with Eric Johnson, which is hilarious because at this point Eric Johnson is just kind of a skating traffic cone. But when they are on the ice together, they did pretty well. when Sammy G's on the ice with anyone else, it's like, Samuel, please. I would also like, speaking of people firing people into the sun, Wedgie, I love you to death. Be gone. Get a different goalie, please. Have some. Blackwood cannot do a full first goalie. He's got to be a 1A, and it's got to be like a half and half, 1A, 1B. It cannot be we're just riding Mackenzie Blackwood and hoping that he is not Vasilevsky.
The Avs are really bad at that.
He needs someone to flip-flop with. They were fine with Darcy and Frankie.
Kind of.
But because they had to be.
Oh, they were more than fine. They won the cup.
Well, they won,
but it wasn't really like a 1A and 1B, though.
No.
It was a 1A and 1B when Darcy took a skate to the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
He would. I don't know if we win the cup if he hadn't gotten taken out specifically, because they would never have switched the goalie, I don't think. And Darcy wasn't going to cut it at that point.
No, he only had one eye.
Well, I'm saying besides the one eye thing. The one eye thing did not help.
No, he was a little all over the place.
But anyway, fire all these people.
So when does Nabokov show up?
Next year on the Eagles, almost exclusively, unless something horrible happens. I mean, I wouldn't really want to put him straight up onto the main team, unless we have to. Usually, it takes kids who come from the K a bit to kind of move over into the size of the ice and all that jazz. I mean, you could put him straight on there, but that at that point, it's kind of like, you don't really want him there. You want him to stay on the Eagles for a year. You want him to get experience first. You don't.
So we're still a year out, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I would prefer. I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay, so here's an interesting name that you didn't mention. He's a UFA this year. Do you try to keep Kiviranta?
Yes, I like Kiwi.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Keep Kiwi. You're stuck with Paka, and honestly, even though Paka is to the Avs what Russell Westbrook would be to the Nuggets if Russell Westbrook was less good at basketball. But he is the chaos agent that you need, and no one else on the team is good at chaos. So I would keep Paka. I would keep Kiwi. I would probably keep like Jack Drury and those people.
Mm-hmm.
I might bring back Nelson if he signs for not $3 million, for fuck's sake. Old bastard.
Well, Parker's under contract next year, so you're still good there. Paka Kelly. I say this at the end of every season, and I know you get sick of me asking the question, but do we really need Sam Girard playing defense for this team?
Third pair. We don't need him on the second pair at this point. But we don't have a better second pair option at this point. So, yes. Sammy G, good. Sammy G would be great as a third pair D with EJ. That would be chef's kiss. I am not putting fucking... Who do we even have signed? Keaton Middleton is not playing second pair defenseman minutes.
No, you're absolutely right.
The corpse of Josh Manson is not playing second. No. Unless we sign somebody to take those minutes from Sammy G. Sammy G's got it on lock. Sammy G do what Sammy G do. Stop shit talking Sammy G, god damn it.
God, he's tiny. He's a left winger playing defense.
But he's good.
He is pretty good. He is pretty good.
He can skate a little bit. I just don't like his game in the playoffs, and I never have. I don't, especially the way that the teams in the West like to play. They're big, they're physical. He struggles against teams like that. He does give you a boost offensively somewhat. I think he dropped off this year a bit in the regular season, but at $5 million a year, is the juice worth that squeeze?
I think unless you get a better option, yes.
Okay.
Because he does give you that offense. He is a great quarterback for the power play if Kale and Taser aren't options. He's perfectly fine. Keep flashing the fucking things on the screen, you dickhead. He's a perfectly good option for defense. He's great offensively. He did take a step back this year, but I do wonder if part of that was trying to just keep his shit, keep things together. The defense was not a strong point this year for the Avalanche.
No.
So even Makar couldn't get his shit together most of the time, which is problematic in and of itself. But I don't have any problems with Sammy G. Leave him be. You rat bastard.
All right, you brought him up. Let me ask about Cale Makar. Offensively, non-existent in the Dallas series. Have you heard anything about the hand, the wrist, what the injury was? Because I really think he didn't look crisp in his passes and receiving passes. Obviously, only scored one goal. It was an empty netter. Just was not a factor offensively. And in my mind, the lack of that production led directly to the loss of the series.
Yeah, he was not with it even in the first round, really. I don't know when the injury happened. I haven't really heard anything about an injury, but we don't have as many beat writers as we did in previous years that I keep up with, at least. And all of the beat writers that I follow didn't really say anything about a massive injury or anything. I didn't hear anything come out. It was pretty obvious he wasn't feeling super good. At least I would hope he wasn't feeling super good.
No, it was clear there was something.
But I mean, so long as start of next year he looks like him again, I don't think we have a problem.
All right, Mark, let me ask you this. The captain came back. Did you get out of him what you wanted? What do you want from him going forward?
That was exactly what I wanted out of him. I wasn't expecting anything out of just due to the nature of everything that he was coming back from. So I had no expectations. I just had hopes and dreams. And he exceeded anything that I could have hoped and dreamt for. I just want him to occupy minutes. At this point, he's a viable option. I don't know about an entire season, but he was a viable option in every single game, especially on the power play. He's an absolute force, and he still has the fire to play the game. It'll be interesting to see what they do, but I think that he will be fine going forward. Especially if they keep him in the role that they had him during the playoffs, I think he'll be fine.
Okay. All right, MJ, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you get everything you wish for, let's say you get Marner, you get to launch everyone into the sun that you want to launch. Nabokov's on the Eagles. You get a backup goaltender that's not Wedgie. What's the outlook for the team next year?
I would honestly, if you are able to recoup what you lost with Mikko in someone like Mitchie, or even if Natchez takes a step forward, or any of these young guys, there's not a ton of young guys on this team. If anyone decides to play a little bit better, I honestly think, and the defense needs to not suck. If those things happen, I think we're fine. I think we're totally fine. I think this year we just ran into the brick wall that is the Dallas Stars. Edmonton is also currently running into that brick wall. I think losing Mikko was not ideal. Clearly. I think he was pissed about that. Clearly.
Really? Maybe
Um,
don't let him skate across the middle by himself.
Yeah, don't let him dog walk you through the slot when you're up 3 goals. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
watch him fucking walk
Don't watch
across
him,
the middle
yeah.
of the fucking ice.
He's so
with
goddamn
no
big.
one
How
around
do you miss
you.
him?
He's right there. He's huge. He's got the
6'5", for
You have
God's
to watch
sake.
him.
You spent fucking 9 years watching him play. You know what he's going to do. Please
Right.
go get him.
Go get that man. You go get him. You don't let him skate across the middle like that.
I think we are totally fine next year if the defense is good and if we can recoup what we lost from Miko.
What are Neil knees?
Neil's knees must be shot. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Can he beat the? Oh,
Can he
I
beat
think he's
the
talking
NHL?
about Landy.
He's talking about Landy. Yeah.
Listen, I want a Landy O'Connor or Landy Kiwi Paka line.
That would be fun.
I want that. I want a fourth line for like one game against like a team, like a physical team. I think it would be hysterical.
I like that idea a lot. All right, Mark, your turn. What's the outlook next year?
I'm with Michaela. I think this team is fine. I think, a full season with these guys skating together, if we get the moves, I mean, if we get Mitch Marner, that's awesome. I don't think that's going to happen.
Mitchell, come to me.
I don't think it's a pipe dream, but it would be fun if it happens. But Joe Sakic always seems to land somebody that you're just like, oh, well, he'll be useful, I guess, and then we're okay. The goaltending thing, it's not a great situation right now, but it really hasn't been for a few years. So hopefully we can get something there. I think that they'll be fine. Obviously, this Dallas Stars team is an issue and kind of on a mission, and there's a lot of chips on a lot of shoulders on that team, and it's going to be a really interesting Stanley Cup between the Dallas Stars and the Florida Panthers. It's going to be a really interesting series because both of these conference finals have been kind of dog shit. So it's going to be really interesting series, and I think the Avalanche will be ultimately very fine. I think so.
All right, you want to put the question for the panel up? That's a good one from Toaster.
Okay,
First
yeah,
comment.
let's put that one
So,
up.
question for the panel: if we have a start like this last year, does Bedsy have a job after 20 games? I think it's a legitimate question. Not that I would call for Bedsy's job, but we all know how the NHL is in terms of coaches. Michaela, I'll start with you.
I don't think 20 games. I think that's too short. I think if it would have to be catastrophic for us to drop him mid-season. If next season goes poorly, i.e., we get knocked out in the first round, or we don't make it to the playoffs, or potentially we don't make it out of the second round, depending on how things go, I would not be surprised if he does not continue his work here after next year.
What was the start of the first 20 games this year?
Hold on, let me double
Was
check.
it specific to the first 20 games of this year? Because if I remember, it was not good.
No, we started very badly and then
It was
didn't
abysmal.
continue ourselves very well. Let me double check. I'll pull it up real fast.
Yeah, I'm looking too.
I'm just curious because as far as the question, if we're going to frame it in reference, give Toaster his full due there. By the way, appreciate the question, and also appreciate Neil out there. Hi, buddy.
We went
Sorry about
11
your
and
knees.
9 in the first 20.
I mean, that's not terrible.
No.
If it's 11 and 9 after.
They did
I know-
lose their first 4. Let's bear that in mind.
If they lose their first 4, nobody's getting fired. If they're 500, they're not firing anybody. If it starts like 5-15, somebody's getting canned.
I don't think even if it's 5-15, I don't think like mid-season it would have to be like we are going into the All-Star break or we're going into the new year and we're like
Less than
fucking
10
dead
wins.
last. Yeah,
Less
like
than 10 wins.
if we're like bottom of the barrel of the Central, like no shot of playoffs, then I
Maybe.
see like
Yeah.
he's not in. 20 games, even up until the start of the year, it would have to be bad for him to be gone that fast.
All right, solid question. Thanks, Toaster. All right,
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That sounds like a good plan to me. I wouldn't fire him. I don't think he would get fired.
No, I don't think so either. This
But
team's
at
pretty
the end of the
loyal,
year, yeah.
but yeah. But we again, the NHL treats their coaches just a little bit differently. We've seen some
Right.
crazy shit, right? All right, well, that's enough of that. I'm done being depressed. Let's have some fun and talk about dipshits of the week. Mark, what do you got?
Let's see. What is my dipshit of the week? I did have one. Give me a second to pull it up. Ski. Boop, 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 doop, boop, boop, doo, doo, doo. Doo, 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 doo. Doo, doo, doo. Why are all of my bookmarks old? Okay. My dipshit of the week is me because I lost my dipshit of the week.
All right, well done. Mark is the dipshit of the week. MJ, what do you got?
Like
did
to
you
throw
find
in it's the just baseball in general with the dumb umpires. Can we just go back to robot umpires, please? Can we just do robo umpires, please? Balls and strikes called by. All we have to do is just have balls and strikes called by an umpire. No, not by an umpire. We just have to have the balls. They can stand on the corners and call outs and stuff. That's fine. Balls and strikes need to just be a computer.
At least bring back the review system.
Enough of that. Yeah. Can we? Yes. Can we review balls and strikes? Because my man Walker Buehler got put through the ringer the other night, and that pitch was dead center, and then the umpire decided to get frisky, and the umpire, who is taking off his mask and advancing in a general vicinity, Walker Buehler, who's standing there talking, the umpire is being the aggressor, advancing towards the pitcher, telling him, if you keep talking, if you keep coming towards me, you are walking towards the pitcher. Stop being the aggressor, stand there like a man, and just fucking call the game like you said. If he's going to throw the game, you just call it. Shut the fuck up. You made a bad call. Own it. I want robo-umps, and I want it now.
Agreed. MJ, what do you got?
Hold on. Did you see Walker Buehler's tweet?
Yes.
Afterwards, because who was it that was talking shit like back to him? And he was like, luckily the bullpen are fucking animals.
Yeah, it was Lindor.
Yeah, Lindor.
Lindor's like, toss it, yeah. Fuck you, Lindor, you little pain in the ass.
The dipshit of the week is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
I'm gonna include myself in there too because I did have the passion. And then very rapidly, I had the passion strangled from me. And then the passion was rekindled and then strangled from me violently a second time. That sucked. Unfortunately, bye-bye Mitchie. Unfortunately, bye-bye John Tavares. Unfortunately, bye-bye probably a majority of the team. Can't wait for 2 to 5 years of the Leafs being bad as we recover from this 10-year experience of the core four. Hooray. I'm so stoked. Yippee.
All right. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Awesome. Can I throw one thing in there?
Yeah.
How it had to have been awful to be a player at the end of that game. You know, you go through the handshake line, you hear all the boos, and you know what's going to happen as soon as you put your stick in the air. And these little jabronis, like as small as possible, put their sticks in the air, just like, we know, we suck. You guys were good though. Just take your medicine right there and get booed by 20,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah, the good news is, I mean, people at least stayed for
To boo
Game
them.
7.
To boo them at the end.
For Game 5, I don't know if you saw, but like halfway through the third period, like half of the people left, and that was after jerseys had gone on the ice, and it was like, oh fuck, okay. And then Game 5, they were like, "Don't worry, guys, we got this, we can do it." And then they came out and played worse.
They did not have it.
They did not have it. They did not have the passion, and I needed them to have a little bit more passion. Yeah, that fucking sucked. That sucked. Hockey sucks.
There it is.
Play video
All right.
games.
My dipshit of the week, and I wanted to use this last week because this is when the quote came out, but we couldn't get our shit together. So I'm much a fault to anybody. I don't know if you guys, yeah, right. I'm the brother. I'm the idiot too. I don't know if you guys saw Dick Monfort's interview with the Gazette last week, and some of I don't know how it's entirely possible for one man to be so wealthy and be so stupid. And the funny part about this quote is that I completely 100%, 1,000 times out of 1,000 agree with the first two sentences. 100%. He said one of the smartest things I've ever heard him say. The only way to do baseball, this is a direct quote from the Gazette. The only way to fix baseball is to do a salary cap and a floor. How do they get the floor? You have to have revenue sharing. Bro, preaching to the choir, right? That's the only way to really do it, because you've got the rich being the richer and the shit being the shit. Problem is that Dick continued to talk. Had he just shut up there, no one would have noticed. But Dick continued to talk and said then the dumbest thing I've ever heard him say. He then said that there also should be a cap on what major league teams spend in terms of coaching, technology, and scouting. Dick, you took your entire analytics department and made them wash clothes. You've got absolutely no idea how to efficiently or properly run a baseball team, and you're off to the worst start in history. There is one, maybe, major league pitcher on this team, and guess what? He's on the IL for forearm stiffness, and we all know what that means. We all know what's coming for Dollander. Oh, yeah. Old TJ. TJ's on his way.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's like they're not, you have no system. You have no, and you keep the absolute arrogance of the organization to not accept anything from the outside is going to bury any competitive chance that they have. And we've said it 100 times. If we've said it once, they don't care. Because why? They're going to get 40,000. They're going to get 40,000 people in the building every week, every night this weekend, because the fucking Yankees are in town. We were at what the hell game were we at? The San Diego game. It was a Tuesday night. San Diego fans outnumbered. People. Yeah, 38,000 people, and 65% of them were San Diego fans. They don't care. They're making their money. Yeah. I just don't understand how you can say something that is so smart in the current market, in the way baseball is currently run. Just overall, you've got your big spenders, you got everybody else, and then double down and say, "Oh, we also have to have a limited amount of batting cages." Bro, no. Maybe spend a little bit on your own team trying to figure out how to find a player. Go find 5 left-handed flamethrowers in the Dominican Republic and just tear them loose, because speed never has a bad day at altitude. Come on.
What's really interesting about him saying something about revenue sharing is I believe the Rockies were second and third in total profit for a baseball team last year. The Red Sox were number 1 and the Mets were number 2 or 3, and the Rockies were in that second or third position. So they would actually end up having to share money with teams that are playing in stadiums that only hold 1,200 people, or teams that don't even know what city they're going to be in next year. Oh, there's a couple of those too. So interesting that he would note revenue as someone who makes some of the most money in baseball. They don't have to go anywhere. Everyone who comes to me and talks to me about the Rockies, on that note, everyone, they're always like, they need to sell the team. They need to sell the team. That's a terrible argument. And I'm tired of hearing about it because it's not going to happen. They don't have to sell the team because they're making money hand over fist with the biggest outdoor sports bar in Colorado and the best outdoor sports bar, in the Rocky Mountain area. And you guys said you were there on a random Tuesday, 38,000 people. Nobody's watching the baseball game. Yeah, there's Padre fans there watching a baseball game. Everyone else is getting a tan, having a few beers. They don't have to do anything with the baseball team. It's a shame.
Why would you?
It's a shame.
Why would you?
Don't have to.
Yeah, don't have to. According to AI, it's Boston, the Cubs.
Oh, Cubs were in there.
The Yankees. Let me see if there's a
Maybe try not the AI.
Well, it's Google. It's Google. Okay. So.
Well, yeah, that doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, they pulled it out of Forbes.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
so
that's
Boston was
Reddit.
number one. Yeah, right. Yeah, because they don't open the books in baseball, so it's all just guesstimation.
Right.
And there's this guy at Over the Monster who actually picked up the story. His name's Dan Secator, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely
aware
right.
of him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did.
You might be.
You did pick up a Boston writer.
There's a reason why that article went public.
Right.
all the Sox fans were bitching about the team not spending any money on the team, and so that jabroni went public, and then the team spent money on the team. Weird how that happens. Yeah, weird. Weird. There is a Forbes article that ranks valuations, which is different. They do have, in terms of overall valuation, this is hilarious. So the Rockies are at, where did they go? The Rockies are 24th, $1.475 billion. Behind such financial heavyweights as the Twins, the Athletics. Oh, goodness gracious.
The Blue Jays at 14. The Mariners. I actually can see that.
I was gonna say the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
Blue Jays have a pretty good, they've got the whole country.
Yeah. Milwaukee's at 20.
And all of Buffalo.
Right. The least valuable team in the league is Miami. Shocking.
Yeah.
Those
two teams are not going to be in Florida very long.
Yeah. Followed closely by Kansas City and Cincinnati. Shocked.
The Kansas City one is interesting to me because the Royals actually sell out. Actually, last year was not it was the first year of kind of their turnaround. I'm sure the numbers are going to be up this year for them because they actually have some pretty big expectations for the Royals this year.
I was gonna say the Royals aren't that bad. Cincy, I can see.
Cincy, surprised Pittsburgh's not on that list.
Yeah, according to this Forbes article, the Rockies lost $22 million in 2024.
Dick sunglasses.
Right.
That's just all Dick sunglasses.
Yeah, stupid.
And Diet Cokes.
Stolen from behind the bar.
It's about 7.5 minutes left. OKC's up by 16. They're going to take a 2-0 lead, and they're running away with this thing. So, fuck Minnesota. I'm officially an OKC fan.
Also, update: the Panthers won 5-0.
Yeah,
to go up 2-0 on the Canes. What a terrible conference finals. Both of them suck.
Hey, thank God we got the Knicks and Pacers, right? I mean, after that.
Yeah, but at least then we get to watch the purge happen in the Bronx, which is going to be hilarious. At least that has some entertainment value behind it.
Right. Yeah.
True.
I mean, this kid Nesmith, who I've never heard of before, goes 8 of 9 from 3 and hits 4 straight down the stretch. It's like, what is happening right now with Reggie on the call? It's like, oh my God, this is so good.
we were at Ronald McDonald House helping out yesterday, cooking dinner, and I got home last night and I saw a text between you and your kid, and then my boss was like, "You got to turn this game on." I'm like, "Okay, here we go, overtime."
It was wild, absolutely wild. All right, let's go home and be done with this. I'm done being sad and mad.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Gene,
talk about the things. Go ahead.
Gene Mingo.
Shoehorn it in. There you go.
No, Gene Mingo. That's it. Beer tank.
Yep, beer tank. All right, MJ, what do you got?
Dinger
tank.
cool. Everyone go play Expedition 33. If you think that you aren't gonna like Expedition 33, shut the fuck up and go play it. Thank you.
Beer tank is a good tank.
All right.
I like beer tank.
Mark?
Beer tank is you know what? I'll see you guys for the Stanley Cup. That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting some Milty record in there here in the next couple of weeks with the Belmont. That should be a good time. Other than that, yeah, going to the Midwest. So we'll be traveling and we'll see you guys next week sometime. We'll talk scheduling, but yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good. Make sure you number one, follow our sister show, Nerds That Know. That's always a fun watch, listen, and read. We've got some stuff that goes up there from time to time. Nerds That Know, anywhere you find social or podcast stuff. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media. You can find My Brothers in Indian on Facebook. Just search that. Look at that beautiful pink logo over there that MJ made for us. It's beautiful. That's the Facebook page that you want. You can also find us on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at The Idiot Goons. Mark's Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok is at Poffle Time. And my Twitch and Twitter at Poffleupicus. You can find me on TikTok at King Goon Smoke. For the absent Milty, we love you, Milty.
Milty.
For MJ and Mark. Make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and take care of each other. This has been My Brothers in Idiot. We'll catch you next time. See ya. Bruh.